Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a new Breakout Solutions live stream and Bitcoin technical analysis video on this merry and beautiful Monday. So thank you. Welcome to anyone that is new. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications if you want to get more of this great content delivered to your YouTube algorithm homepage every single day. All right, so we've just printed a new weekly candle, the candle that we just closed last night, or early this morning, I should say, at 10 a.m. Australian time, closed at $30,313. Since then, we've obviously dropped back. So basically, because of that, that $30,313 will now be resistance moving forward. So what I tend to like to do is on the weekly scale, I like to always put, obviously in yellow, you can choose whatever color, doesn't really matter. I like to put obviously resistance lines where I feel like there's going to be resistance moving forward in the future, and obviously support lines. So you can see that last week's candle right here started at $28,311 or $319. So that for now is going to be support, and the close is going to be some resistance moving forward. So whilst Bitcoin has had a bit of a sell-off over the last 24 hours, if we do continue to go lower, and we'll dive into the shorter time frames in a second, I do expect to see some sort of support at around about 28,200 worst case scenario. All right, so let's zoom into a couple of the smaller time frames. We'll start with the daily. So on the daily, you can see that we do have similar support levels. At 28,300 comes up as a daily support as well as a weekly support. So when you put both indicators on, you can see that I have a weekly and a daily there, which means 28,300 is probably going to be very strong support, even if we do have a bit of a breakdown. Now, why are we having a breakdown? Well, guys, we've been printing some bearish divergences for quite some time. You can see here just on the normal RSI that we had a bearish divergence, and usually a bearish divergence leads to some form of sell-off. We can see that the MACD moving averages have also crossed over, and the money flow on the market side of the B indicator is coming down. I do still think that we're obviously in a still bullish uptrend, right? Because overall, if we're looking at the structure of Bitcoin, we've got a low, we've got a high, we've got a higher low, higher high. Even though this was a lower low to here, we've continued to print basically higher highs and higher lows, which is great. So until the trend changes on the macro, a bit like here, I guess this was a bit of a macro change in structure, but we were saved by the 618 fib retracement. We can look at obviously we can look at this price action, this recent price action. And let's try and see if Bitcoin does continue to pull back. Where could it possibly pull back to? So the first thing is we can look at some fixed range volume profiles. I'm going to draw one here. I'm going to draw one for this sideways range that we're in for quite a while. And basically, if Bitcoin does close below $29,908 on a daily basis, right? So this is on the 4 hour, not a daily. If we close a daily candle below, let's say 29,900, Bitcoin is more than likely going to come back down. So we have the value area high of this previous range at about, let me just turn my magnifying glass on, my magnet off, 28,581. That is the value area high of this local range. Let's see if we can get some confluence in regards to that range. So we can pull a fib from this candle here, because you can see that even though we came up here and came back down, sorry, see how we came up and then came back down? We can draw a fib basically from this wick here to this high point to see if we can see or get any confluence. Now, we can also pull a fib basically from down here because this is where the first part of the uptrend did commence. And so from here, and you can even sort of pull one from here. So if you pull one from here, we can see that the golden pocket lines up with the value area high. So you could definitely see Bitcoin obviously coming down here, but finding a lot of support. Not only do we have the value area high, the 618, but we also have the daily and the weekly that I spoke to you guys about just previously before. I've got the dailies on. If I chuck the weekly on, you can see that we have a weekly, a daily right here at about 28,300. So we could even break down below the 618 just for a bit of just to fake out all those people that do trade the 618 fib retracement, because it is a very highly sought after, I guess, indicator. Most people will long or short fib retracements, the 618, because a lot of people do. So it's just sort of common knowledge. So from here, if we do break down, I could definitely foresee us coming back down here. I'd like to also draw a fixed range profile of just this entire swing that we've had over the last, how long has this been? Since the 9th of April. So, all right, so for the last sort of 10 days. You can see from here, we have the value area low, basically where we're finding support right now, but it needs to obviously hold, or else we're going to see some much lower prices, and we're going to see some very big, fast, candles to the downside because we created no support through here. We even do have on the 4-hour, we can see that we have an imbalance here in this section. So right here, we have an imbalance, which basically means that, did that imbalance fill? Yeah, it looks like it filled. No, it didn't fill. So basically the imbalance means we didn't give enough people the opportunity to obviously jump into here, and it's created obviously 3 large 4-hour candle wicks. And the imbalance is where you have 3 consecutive candles, but the middle candle hasn't been joined by the first candle and the third candle. Basically, you want to see the wick or the body of the first and the third candle meeting at some point here. So because this hasn't occurred, we see a bit of an imbalance here. So price could also bounce off the 382 here and move to the upside. That would probably be the point of last resort. So if we do see a swing failure pattern of this wick right here, so we have a bit of a sell-off, we hit around 29,000. What's the prices at? Let me just take that off. If we hit around 29,600 or 500, we could do something like this where we come down, boom, we grab a lot of liquidity. A lot of people think that we're obviously breaking down because we've broken sort of through support. It provides a lot of liquidity. It's a fake out to the downside, and then we push further to the upside. I do expect more price to the upside. Not too sure, apart from being a round number, not too sure why Bitcoin sort of stopped at around 31,000 yesterday. I think this is just a temporary pullback, and I do expect to see higher prices. Where am I expecting to see? Well, I do have a couple of thoughts on that, but I'm going to reserve that for some of our clients at Breakout Solutions. Alrighty, guys, I think, do I want to cover anything else? Oh yeah, that's one thing I wanted to do. So another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to look at the volume profile of Bitcoin over sort of a longer period. Maybe I'll use the 2 day. 2 days probably a little bit better. Okay, cool. 2 days, good. So I want to look at the fixed range profile, so the volume profile from the start of the year. So which is, where is it? Here we go, there. Okay, so during this entire uptrend, I'm looking at the value profile. So as I said, we could probably even see support. If we don't get support of that 28,300 range, we could have support from this trend line from the rising channel, and that lines up with the value area high on this entire uptrend. The point of control from this entire year, so 2023, is $23,000, right? So God forbid we do come down all the way down here. We do have a point of control at 23,000 where we can obviously have a bit of a bounce. From that, what are some other areas that I'd like to look at? We can look at it from the start of the bear market as well. to see how much volume has been traded. So we can see there's a fair bit of volume here, and this is due to obviously the support that we did get in the 2021 part of the bull market. Okay, we got lots of support with this ended up breaking, but you can see that we spent a fair bit of time here. This was close to, what's that, 11th of May to the 10th of June, so a whole month sideways, because we had the support that was built up through the 2021 bull market, and now that's acting as, you know, resistance. So it's not a coincidence that we're struggling to possibly, you know, really break through the 30K mark and just continue moving upwards. If we do break that, you know, that's if we do break that resistance, the next, you know, volume node is around about 36,000, and the other one after that is 39,000. So we basically have some clear skies, you know, close to those. Now, even though this is a low volume node, this can also sometimes have the same reaction as the high volume. So I like to really look at low volume and high volume nodes. So right here, 33,000, that's probably where I would see the next major pullback, because we are also very overbought on a majority of timeframes and indicators. If I throw on the weekly, we can see that on market cipher B, this momentum wave right here, it's close to topping out, right? It needs to top out, and if it doesn't top out, you know, we could obviously continue having more upside, but it looks like to me, especially with the stochastic, that we are bound to have a decent sized pullback. When I say decent sized pullback, something along the lines of 15 to 20%. It's coming. It's very common for it to occur. I mean, if you look at what we did at the start of the year, where we blasted up, this first major pullback was 23%. It's that we need that. People need to take profits. And then that gives the opportunity with these pullbacks for people to also get into the market. So right now that we've basically, gone up, $11,500 without really any major pullbacks. We are due for one very, very soon, if not already started to have one. But I just want you guys to understand that this, quick rise, we basically, the price of Bitcoin's doubled in the space of, 3 months. That's not sustainable results. And we need a pullback because we need to get more liquidity into the market. And when we have such a quick rise, a lot of people are like, it's pumping, I'm not going to get in, I'm not going to get in. And they'll say to themselves, I'm going to sort of get some on the next pullback. So we need to wait for that next pullback. Where can it be? Who knows? Let's do a value area from basically where $15,000 was in 2020. And we can see that we've actually just broken into the value area of the entire, this entire part of the price range. So I've matched up obviously the 15.5K here to over here. All right, so we've basically got a nice, we're looking at the volume from this entire space right here. All right, which is great. So the value area low, we've broken back into it. So that value area is sitting at 28,900. So we couldn't even come down to there. So we've got a few spots to look at: 28,900, 28,300, and obviously this trend line, which is around about 27.6. So those are the 3 key areas of support that I would be looking at. If Bitcoin obviously does continue to fall and break below the value area low of the local range that we looked at. If we do bust on through, we can see that the point of control is pretty much in line with the 618 fib retracement from all-time high to the local low. Okay, very close here. So we're definitely going to see a sell-off when we get up here, and I do think we're going to get up here over the next few months before we have our secondary sort of bear market, and then we'll lead into the halving, which will then kick off the next exponential bull market. All right, guys, I think I've covered enough for today. Thank you all for watching. If it's your first time, remember to like, subscribe, turn on all notifications. So just to summarize, for those of you who have maybe come in late, Bitcoin needs to hold this price point right here, or we're going to probably see a quick little fall down to 28,000 sort of 300, or even if we just do this, so 29,000 has a golden pocket, and also lines up with, you could say, the resistance that we had for quite a time here. Let me just remove that. It's knowing when that happens. So this was this was resistance for quite some time, and you can see that if I zoom in, we have the golden pocket, and what was previously resistance hopefully can now turn into support around 29k. So look for support here if we don't continue from here, but I'm still pretty confident that we should stick this as support in the short period of time. We should probably have one more leg to the upside. I'm looking to sell into some shorts around that sort of $32,500 to $33,000 range. All right, I'm off. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you Wednesday with the altcoin research analysis live stream. Bye for now.